Should terminally ill patients be able to end their own lives with medical assistance? Moral issue. Should terminally ill patients be able to end their own lives through assisted suicide? This is an issue because it is ending a human life. A terminally ill patient is prescribed a lethal dose of drugs to end their life with. The idea with this is that because the person will die soon, that it's okay to die by their own will. This is an important issue today because the practice is becoming more common in many countries, such as some parts of the United States, Canada, Germany, and Spain are making this legal. Criteria to qualify for medically assisted suicide. They have to be terminally ill, likely to die in 6 months or a year, or have an incurable illness or disability. They are of sound mind. They voluntarily and repeatedly express their wish to die. They take the specified lethal dose by their own hand. Data. In 2022, 1,904 people killed themselves through assisted suicide. That is less than 0.3% of all deaths in 2022. There have been 14,446 deaths through assisted suicide since 1997. There was nearly a 1,000% increase in assisted suicide deaths from 2014 to 2022. The median age for people who used assisted suicide was 74. 53% were male and 95% were white. Cancer was the leading cause in 70% of cases. The main motivation was that people felt like they were losing autonomy. Argument 4. The person has a relatively short time left to live and they may be in severe pain. It would be cruel to make the dying person go through unnecessary pain. Approximately 50 to 80% of terminally ill patients suffer moderate to severe pain. Argument for autonomy. Terminally ill patients can lose autonomy in their lives, and it feels as if they are just existing because they can't do anything for themselves. They would rather die and do nothing with no pain than live and do nothing with pain. Approximately 87 to 92% of terminally ill patients lose autonomy. Argument for safety. It is better that suicide is done by a professional industry to ensure it is done properly and doesn't result in the patient living with worse conditions from a failed attempt. If it is done by the person's own hand, it could result in more lasting harm. 90% of people who attempted suicide survive, while 7% of people who attempted assisted suicide lived. Argument against life. Around 6 to 17% of terminally ill patients end up stabilizing. Why allow suicide with a chance of life? This number may be higher without assisted suicide. Even if it was one life that was saved, it would be a success. Argument against true desire. Legalization could put pressure on financially challenged patients to choose death over a costly operation. This would lead to more people choosing death rather than living in debt. Around 40 to 56% of adults facing medical financial hardships. Argument against spreading. Legalization could of assisted suicide could end up broadening the practice, with places like Canada doing it for non-terminally ill patients and Germany allowing for abortions of disabled fetuses. Church teachings. The act of euthanasia or assisted suicide is a grave matter and despite having good intentions is still murder, as says the Catechism. The Archbishop of Baltimore also wrote to Congress saying it was wrong. Thank you for listening to my presentation about assisted suicide and euthanasia.